fascinating day, and there are obviously a lot of like-minded people in the room. Are you sure there is a mood for this progressive centre in the country?
Well, first of all, I'm so grateful to everyone for hanging about, actually, to hear me. And the short answer is, I don't know, but I think so.
Anybody else thinking it's post-Brexit and the new world order that he's on about is this new world order that they've all been warning us about? Tony Blair's Institute for Global Change. I've got a global change for you, Tony. How about you go to The Hague, admit what you did was wrong, and get hung for it? But anyway, let's watch the rest of the video.
Sometimes politics isn't about, it's not just about going with the flow, it's about resisting it as well. So my view basically is that the world is changing really fast. Britain is in a very tight spot. The key to it is policy. And yes, there may be many people who don't want to debate it.
The key to it is policy. Well, I'm sorry, I don't follow policy. Like San Joaquin would say, we follow law, not policy in this world.
And there may be many people who despise and hate the centre. But there's no point in being in politics unless you stand up for what you believe in.
Of course, but if you look at what's happened in France in the legislative elections, it was either Mélenchon or Le Pen. You look at the US and the left of the Democratic Party trying to seeming.
Look, this is all BS. There is no left, there is no right, there's just a political agenda. We all know this. If you don't know this, then I'm quite glad you're watching my video.
You wanted to take over, and you've still got the very Trumpian right of the Republican Party. In Britain, you've still got the effects of Jeremy Corbyn in the Labour Party, and you've got a populist Prime Minister, get Brexit done is still the mantra. I just wonder where that centre of gravity, if it is at the centre.
Well, it's a fight. I mean, there's going to be a big struggle, because you can put some of that round the other way. So Macron did win in France. Right? The Ensemble party actually is bigger than either Les Nup or Le Pen's party. But it's a fight. He's going to have to fight to get his programme through. Schulz won in Germany probably because people thought he was a more natural successor to Merkel than the person from her own party. I think Joe Biden got elected in the US because people wanted someone from the centre. Now, does that mean the fight is over? No, but it means that it's not a hopeless fight. My view is if the Labour Party had been sensibly led, if it had had a proper, sensible, centre-left progressive leader at
I'm guessing he means himself.
the last election, we would have had a chance of winning. But we didn't. So the point is, it's all to play for. I agree it's a big fight, but it's worth having that fight, because one of the things that's been fascinating about today is just to see the scale of change that's happening in the world, to see what is possible, and to realise the massive gap between what politics is debating and what the real world is actually doing. And, the whole purpose of my institute is to say you've got the policy makers here and the change makers here, and you've got to put them together, because otherwise what's politics about? It's about what it is about at the moment in the UK, and that's doing damage to our country.
I want to reflect on the course of the day. I was listening to Evan talking about Snap and him recognising that the algorithm on social media is such that, of course, the more toxic, the more polarising, the more extreme the opinion is that's being expressed, the more it's likely to get pick-up and support.
Do you think they're talking about me? Better maybe.
Do you find that you're talking about the fight? When you were fighting for power in '97, social media didn't exist, but that is now a reality, and that makes it much more difficult to frame radical centrist policies when you've got people saying, well, it's this or it's that, painting in black or white.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and social media is a revolutionary phenomenon. In many ways, it's a kind of plague on modern politics.
How is it a plague on modern politics when he's using it to go speak to me just now? This makes no sense inside my head. But I'll tell you one thing, it does make sense, the fact that there's no comments allowed on his videos. I wonder why.
And, you know, we've got to, I think someone was saying this just earlier, you've got to be realistic about human nature, right? If two people are having a reasonable conversation here, and there's a full-on fight going on here, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be looking that way, really. I mean, it's very interesting what you guys are talking about, but hey, it's something really interesting happening.
But isn't that what we've done today? We've had a really reasonable conversation.
Yeah. But, you know, in the end, I'm still going to vote for those two people, not for those two. And that's the art of...
I think South Park got it right. Voting is either a douche or a shit sandwich.
Politics is to make these arguments sing, you know, to get people energized behind them. I think, as Monica said right at the very beginning of the day, to have a muscular centre, not in the sense of a sort of aggressive, but in the sense of being prepared to stand up. And I believe that the type of politics that we've tried to explore today, the problem for the British people, like many other people in democracies around the world, it's a supply problem, not a demand problem. You give them something reasonable. In the end, look, you've got to have faith in people that they will vote for it.
So you're saying that the demand from the British people is there for a different type of politics. It's just the politicians haven't been supplying it.
Yeah, the politics has not supplied it, and I think that's for... I mean, you can debate the reasons, and I think they're quite complicated, but my assessment of it is that because we haven't been able to get a policy agenda where you're making change for people, that they think, yeah, no, okay, I buy that. I think that's going to really make my life different. If you've lost your faith that anything is going to change very well in your life, then actually what you do is you do default to a politics that's...
No, Tony, the only thing you ever did to me was actually reduce my faith in humanity. I honestly thought that after what you did, politics just isn't worth it anymore. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't be bored sitting here listening to him for half an hour, so I'll listen to him for a bit longer and I'll be shutting this off. But if you want to see what Tony Blair's up to, you should be like me and keep an eye on him every now and then. Because I think he's up to a lot more than what I'm seeing. I ain't done so I get him a lot, like, so... If you lot see him up to something,
for example, about a culture war, or it's about a partisan division, because you're not thinking, yeah, if we go down this path, I'm going to be better off. My kids are going to get better educated. I'll have better health care. And one of the things that I tried to do today, and I just want to make this point because of something that Polly was...
Sorry, stopping it here. If he wants to go help with better education, start teaching our kids law. That's all I'm saying on that one.
Saying earlier, I agree that politics can't be technocratic. Right, okay. You know, I've spent my life in politics, and I led the Labour Party through three general elections, so I'm well aware of the fact that politics can't be technocratic. But this is something I learned in the 10 years in government, and a lot of learning since then. You can